Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Fantasy Sports Game Show. This is the game show for fantasy sports people about fantasy sports. All right. So that includes everybody. We are the sports affiliation. We're glad for you tuning in. We're going to get right to our guests. Before I do that, just remember that the draft kit's available, $10. We will send it to you. It's printer friendly. You can have it up and ready. If you like to mark off, it's also digital. So that will be good as well. Okay. All righty. We got 15 seconds on the clock, everybody. And what's gonna happen is I'm gonna read the question, and then after that, the timer will start. Once you hear the two bells, your time's up. All right. So this is for 4 points. Okay. Remember, the theme is running backs, and this is it. This running back had 1,000 yards on 200 attempts, just over 3 touchdowns, and 0 fumbles. Who is it? And the time starts now.
Repeat the question, please.
Repeat the question.
That is a tough one, yeah.
Oh, man, that is a tough one. Let's see. I got the time on there. 2 seconds, 1 second. Okay, so the question was,
my gosh.
This running back had 1,000 yards, 200-plus attempts, 3 touchdowns, and 0 fumbles. Y'all want to give one more guess before we go to
Jamal Williams?
That was a good guess.
17, Cam Akers.
Cam Akers, good guess. Drew, you got anything?
Travis Etienne.
Man, those are all great. It was actually Tyler Algier, 1,000-yard rusher, 0 fumbles. Let's get a quick introduction around. So nobody got the points, as you can see. So we're at 0 right here. How this game works, I give you thumbs up. If I like your response, thumbs down if I don't like your response. And we mark up and tally the points. A little old school here, but that's how it's going to work. So why don't we just go in that order? We'll go Brandon, Jack, and Drew. Thoughts on Tyler Algier and just who you are, tell people where to find your work and so forth.
Brandon Lane at Chubbsburger on Twitter, and you can find my work if you just click on my Twitter link there. There's a link to it. I do NFL draft content before the each rookie draft, and then I move into doing a weekly waiver wire show called Winning the Wire in season, which will be starting back up by week 1.
Awesome, Brandon. So glad to have you here. We did meet at the Expo. One of the nicest people I met there, and I'm really thankful for having you on the show. Got you 2 thumbs there, so 2 points for you, Brandon. All right, Jack, welcome to the Fantasy Sports Game Show. What are your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts on Tyler Algier, Brandon, real quick, or no?
Tyler Algier, no.
Okay. Yeah, he's kind of a perplexing running back I found in the community. All right, Jack, go ahead. A little bit about yourself and your thoughts on Tyler Algier, please.
Well, I've got thoughts. My thoughts are he's the reason I think Bijan Robinson is a bust based on his ADP, because there's no way that Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, and the corpse of Cordero Patterson are all going to split the backfield, and that Bijan Robinson is going to set rookie records that way, which is the only way he's going to be a value at his ADP. And if you want more stupid, crazy takes and dumb wrestling fantasy promos and bad impersonations, you can follow me at Jack Lucenay, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, the Fantasy Football Joker.
All right. Thank you for being here, Jack. Preaching some honest truth, perhaps, right there on our guy, Tyler Algier. Drew, thank you so much for being on the show. Thoughts on Tyler Algier, just, where to find your work. This is Mr. Auction over here, so make sure you're paying attention, especially if you're in an auction league. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, man. Well, I think Algier's quickly become one of the handcuffs you really want to target later in your draft, because that's just such a good offensive line, and they clearly still want to run the football, even though Arthur Smith wants to be a little more balanced this year. I still think that Tyler Algier is somebody you can't ignore. He did well enough. I heard a lot of people, including, football guys, Matt Waldman, saying Algier just wasn't a very special player, but he looked pretty darn good when he did what he did last year. So I think he's a high-end handcuff. I don't know that he's going to have a ton of standalone value, although he should have some, because they are going to run the hell out of the ball just like they did last year. Yeah. So you can find me over at Twitter at Drew Davenport FF. My show is something that I get excited about because I think it's a little bit different. It's called The Auction Brief. We talk about the law, auction drafting, and then I have guests on as well to talk about player analysis. So it's a little bit different than anything you've ever heard. And of course, there's my Patreon. I'm on Patreon now. It's patreon.com/fantasyfootballlawyer. Thanks, man.
Love it. And I got to give a shout out also to Drew real quick. He kept my fantasy season going. We're in a surf fantasy league together. My second year to play fantasy surfing, so that's how you know you're a surf nut. But my first year with Drew, so thanks, Drew, for keeping my fantasy experience going year round.
So much fun. So much fun. I'm sad it's almost over.
Yeah, I'm giving you one more point for that. So Brandon has 2, Jack has 2, Drew has 3, just for giving me the surf opportunity to come back and play a fantasy sport I enjoy. Hey, Wayne, I want to say thanks. Scott, I want to say thank you for tuning in. And Jonathan Siegel, thank you guys for tuning in as well. Get those comments in. We love to give the points to the listeners here, giving you guys one as well as we get going. Comment in. What are your thoughts? We want to be interactive over here at the Sports Affiliation. All right, so I left it really open-ended for the first question. All right. A lot of these are a little bit more open-ended than before. The theme is 4th and goal. That used to mean running back, old school football when I grew up. So that's what we're focusing in on this show. We'll go in this order. We'll go Brandon, Jack, Drew. What do you make of the current running back situation? You know, bird's eye view on the whole situation. I'm allowing this answer to be as open-ended and as broad as you want it to be. But what are your personal thoughts and where does it go forward? Okay, I'm going to give everybody actually a little bit more time on this because this is such a hot topic. We're going to move it to 45 seconds. Okay, Brandon? It's on you first, and the time starts right now.
I mean, the holdouts with Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs are a real thing. Both had the best seasons of their year, arguably best players on their teams, and they deserve to get paid. You know, today there was a piece that Mark Ingram said that for Yahoo Sports, saying he would not let his kids grow up to be running backs. He wants them to be wide receivers or quarterbacks so they get paid. You know, and I think it's going to take a complete league-wide holdout from these running backs, you know, in the next year or two to really get something done. But, you know, I do think that Josh Jacobs and Barkley hold the reins here. I think they'll deserve to get paid. So.
All right. Great complete answer, Brandon. Giving you one more point to top it off, getting the first 5 of the day. Okay, Jack, I'm giving you 45 seconds, and your time starts right now.
I'm going to try and fit a big answer in because I've compared it basically to how the workforce in America in general is being underappreciated, and the pay rate and scale and divide between CEOs and the workforce in general has become so big. And it's the same disparity that you see with the running backs. And especially when you think about the intangibles, I don't even want to talk about statistics. The fact that they rely on running back highlights, that's what really drives the sport, that's what drives fans coming to the game, and that they are playing Barry Sanders highlights and Walter Payton highlights from 50 years ago, because that's literally like the best part of the game. Is there's nothing better than when a running back breaks a big run and what that does to motivate a team.
I love it. Giving you 3 points as well, Jack. Kind of alluding to culture. I love it. Drew, that means you're on the clock, 45 seconds, and it starts right now.
Yeah, I think the whole thing's really interesting because these guys had the Zoom call the other night. And what's funny is I don't know why they didn't hide this result a little bit better, but they basically said, yeah, we got no leverage. We're kind of screwed. So I don't know why you would come out of the Zoom call and say that. But I think that that's a legitimate point here, because I think that the holdouts are probably going to happen as far as camp is concerned. I don't think they're going to hold out into the season. It just doesn't make any sense. And on top of that, the problem is every time somebody holds out, we see that they really aren't as valuable as maybe they think they are. I think they absolutely should be paid. My opinion is that they absolutely are getting screwed by the owners and by the NFL. At the same time, I think that whenever somebody holds out, we find out that, you know, a guy can come in and get them 80 or 85%, and they can do it for a lot cheaper. And that's what teams are after. And I understand the business side of it, and I understand why that's happening. It's unfortunate, but I get it.
All right at the bell there, Drew. I love it. Yeah, you know, it's such a beloved position, and I thought the same thing, you know, just to kind of give my thoughts on it. Like, they don't have much leverage. I feel, you know, once they put a premium on quarterback, they put a premium on the edge, which is putting a premium on tight ends, which is putting a premium on hybrid safety linebackers, right? So somebody's going to get cut out of that. Unfortunately, it's our running backs that we love so much. They absolutely deserve to be paid better. I keep thinking about Emmitt Smith, early 90s. Cowboys run the middle of that dynasty run. They went 0-2 on the first 2 games. Charles Haley goes to the locker room, starts destroying things, and then they pay Emmitt Smith and they go on to win the Super Bowl. I think he goes on to have an MVP that year, despite only playing 14 games. But evolution of a culture, evolution of society, evolution of the NFL, it all kind of happens. And I think they need to do something. They need to do something on their contract for every 100-yard game, or they need to have these incentives to be able to get their contract up. I don't know how we tackle that either.
I want to kick in though. Like there's an evolution of the position when you have guys like Austin Eckler and CMC catching 80 balls a year. They're catching more balls than a lot of these wide receivers are. So it's like there should be, like in sales, how you get paid based on your production. That's really what needs to happen with running backs is more incentivization. But it comes from ownership down. They could fix it. They're not going to. So it's going to have to come back to the CBA going up.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they're going to have to do something. I can't imagine the game without running backs. I mean, I think Nick Chubb has potential to be an all-time running back. He got paid. People made fun of Jerry Jones for paying Ezekiel Elliott. They're saying it's not the right thing to do. So it's kind of a pickle. It really is quite a pickle. All right. Now that we're done with that, gave everybody 3 points on that question, I believe. So Drew 6, Jack 5, Brandon 5. I appreciate all the comments coming in. JC's handling the Twitter as well. So we'll make sure we do that. Did you have something to say, Brandon? Are you good?
No, I have 5 points. I'm just visual aid over here.
Yeah, the 5. We're working on the pop-up artwork for it. Second question, though. We'll go in reverse order. Drew, Jack, Brandon, who finishes RB1 and why? Drew, you're on the clock. 30 seconds this time.
It's really interesting that I can't find somebody below about the top 3 or 4 guys that I really believe in as the RB1. I think that's the current state of where we are. Because when I'm looking down the list, I'm thinking, okay, well, is this a dark horse or that a dark horse? Thought about maybe Nick Chubb as a dark horse, but really what it comes down to is I still like Austin Eckler. And that's my pick because I think that offense is going to be absolutely dynamite. They had the injury to Rashawn Slater last year that hurt them real early on in the season. And then, of course, they proceed to lose guys all over the offense all year long. I think that's going to get better, and I think Eckler's going to have another fantastic year.
All right, I love it. Giving you one more there at the end. Going with Eckler. Okay, Jack, we're going to come to you. Keep in mind, you can have the same answer. I just need the why. That's what I'm looking for more than anything. So, Jack.
It's fine, but I've got a different answer. And
Here we go.
The 1.6, I get to sit here and think about my answers, but I still wrestled with this all day. And even in this moment, I want to be able to say Nick Chubb because he's set up for it. Assuming no one signs there in standard leagues, that's what I would roll with. But when you add the half PPR, I've got to go CMC. Trent Williams is still there. The PFF is ranking this offensive line too low. I love the Browns' offensive line. To me, it's you can't go wrong with either one. Nick Chubb feels a little safer, but I like CMC in the half PPR format and PPR plus.
All right, so there we go, Jack. Kind of giving us 2 answers, but giving us the CMC to settle with.
CMC, because we went redraft half PPR. My official answer for this purpose is CMC.
All right, I love it. Brandon, you're on the clock. You can take either one of those 2. Starts now.
Well, we've heard so much Nick Chubb. I'm going to just say Nick Chubb. He's the best pure runner in the league. No Kareem Hunt, no D'Ernest Johnson. Deshaun Watson should improve. Without Kareem Hunt, he saw 17.5 touches, 110 yards, and 7 starts. And I think he can catch the ball, and I think we see him over 50 catches this season.
Man, right at the bell. I love that you brought it up, Brandon. I actually gave you 4 points on that one, winning that question. Yeah, I think his reception should go up. I'm really big on Chubb. I'm big on CMC. I had Austin Eckler last year. I had Josh Jacobs last year in a lot of leagues. They worked out really well for me. I still think the running back position drives you from Thanksgiving on in your fantasy football league. That's why I think they're still relevant in this league because the leagues I have those guys, that's the ones I did the best in.
I just want to say none of us mentioned Derrick Henry, and his stats were right there with everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting how, and you know, such a best ball fanatic, I've seen Derrick Henry fall to the 3rd round a lot. I mean, I think he's value right there at the 3rd round, but we'll kind of get into that a little bit later. All right, here's the 3rd question before we go into the 4th quarter finale. Still single points here. How many running backs are you drafting in a half-point PPR league with 12 teams, 2 flex, 6 bench? So how much do you cover the running back position? How much do you value it? I'm trying to gauge how that works for you with how many running backs you draft. So we'll go Jack, Brandon, Drew. Okay, Jack? So you're on the clock, and it starts right now.
So this is perfect. We were literally just talking about it, how Derrick Henry is going as a value in the 3rd. and so is Najee Harris, so is Travis Etienne, so is Miles Sanders, so are a lot of these guys that I'm comfortable with as my RB1, RB2. So I'm doing what I call hero zero. I take two guys that are my heroes, and then I take a couple touchdown guys late, usually about 4 or 5 total, max usually about 6, but I'm smashing wide receivers more for the most part. But I call it hero zero.
Hero to zero, giving you a point there for the creativity. Right now, you are the current leader. So up next, we do have Brandon, and you're on the clock, and it starts right now.
Yeah, depending on how the draft goes, I'm probably going to gobble up at least 2 of those workhorse running backs, maybe 3. Then I'm going to go wide receiver. But if there's value sitting there like those Miles Sanders, Cam Akers, David Montgomery, even a Jamal Williams in that range, I'll try and go back and get my 3rd or 4th running back there and wait a little more on like a 2nd or 3rd wide receiver. So I'm taking 4, maybe 5.
4, maybe 5. Okay. We got 11 coming into that one. So 2 out of 11, Drew. You are currently at 9. 3 points to get the lead and get first answer in the fourth quarter finale. How many running backs you taking and why? Starts now.
Well, the way that I approach auctions and drafts in general is that I don't care about anything but having one guy. So I'm just going to get one guy, and then after that, I'm going to completely bail out and just punt on the rest of my guys. So I want to take a shotgun approach. If I have the ability to lock up 6 guys, now you're talking about 6 bench spots. It may be difficult to do that, so I'm probably looking at 5. But I just want a shotgun approach. I'm going to take a bunch of guys that have a chance out of a committee, and hopefully, one of them is going to hit behind my RB1, and that's going to be my RB2.
So do you have a percentage amount for your budget for RB1, or is it just like by person for you, Drew?
I don't do a percentage. In fact, actually, I do an actual amount that and I know people don't like to do this, but I do an actual set amount. Like I want to spend 46 or I want to spend 48 because I really want to know exactly what I feel like I can fit in my budget. And the percent kind of leaves a little bit of fudge room that I find ends up screwing me up at the end. But for the most part, I want to spend 40 to 45 on my RB1. I'm hoping that a guy like Saquon Barkley or Bijan Robinson is going to be there for that low 40s. And then I'm completely bailing out and spending $8 to $10 on my RB2.
All right. I love it. Different strategies you hear from different 3 people. I love it. Drew, I did give you 3 points right there to go with the 12. So you do have the slight lead going into the fourth quarter finale. Like I said, remember to check out the Twitter, get your comments in. Siegel saying that he doesn't use percentages either. Big time auction guy over at TSA. So, like I said, there's more than one way, more than one way to skin a cat. I guess not too many people have probably skinned a catfish. So there's more than one way to pet a kitty, okay? So whatever your way is, stick with it, stay true to it. I think that's more important in your draft method than, per se, what some advice might be outside of your draft, okay? Always take that in. So going into the final round, we do have a little bit of a tie. I'm going to go ahead and give it to Brandon because he accepted the invite first. But, Drew, you're going to answer first on the fourth quarter finale. Then we'll go Brandon, then we'll go Jack, and we'll start going down the order. So, Brandon, you'll get first on the second question. Jack, you'll get first on the third question, okay? So how this works is points become double. A lot more thumbs up or thumbs down if I don't agree with you. It's all based off of half point, PPR, redraft. Like we said, 12 teams. We're going to have a 40-second timer here. The stats I gathered are from our friends at Fantasy Pros for the ADP. A lot of these are going to be ADP questions revolved around running backs, okay? So let me get the timer set for us, and we'll get going. Drew, you'll have the first answer, like I said, for the first question. You cannot pick the same answer as somebody else. That's what kind of makes this lightning round a little better, okay? So, Drew, or everybody, here we go. Barkley, JT, and Bijan are all currently separated by 0.3 ADP, okay? You can use the auction format. You can use, drafting format, whichever you prefer. But who do you like and why, okay? So, Drew, on the clock, it starts right now.
Yeah, I immediately dismissed Jonathan Taylor. I'm concerned about the efficiency in the offense. So it really comes down to Bijan or Barkley for me. I love the rookie, but I do get a little bit nervous about a rookie being able to put it all together in the first season. An ADP of right around RB3 or 4 is just – it seems like you really got to put it all together to do that, and it just doesn't happen that often for rookies. So Barkley's my choice. I think that the offense is going to take another step forward. under Dable in the second year. I'm hoping that there's just a little bit more passing efficiency to help take the pressure off the run game, even though Dable schemed up a lot of run game for Daniel Jones. That certainly helped Barkley as well. I think it's close, but I'll take Barkley.
So Barkley is off the board, okay? So that means, Brandon, you can say either one of the two running backs, and your time starts now.
Yeah, Barkley would have been my first pick as well, until we hear something about the holdout. I'm strong with him. But I'll go Bijan Robinson. Only the Cowboys averaged more running back carries last year than the Falcons. So 27 last year. I think they continue to run the heck out of the ball. They've got a good offensive line. He was drafted in the top 8 overall. Every running back that's been in that position has gotten just like a huge workload and been successful. So I think he can catch the ball. I think he can run the ball. I think he's going to be successful.
All right. I love the answer, giving us the depth and some statistics. Always get you a little bit more points here on the game show. So that means, Jack, you must take JT when the time starts.
I've got a big old smile on my face, though, because JT would have been my first pick if I was first up, because I think it's disrespectful how this man is being dismissed because of a rookie quarterback who's going to run in 7 to 8 touchdowns. Are we acting like JT didn't go for nearly 2,000 yards like 2 years ago? Why, he dealt with injuries for the first time in basically his football career last year, and so now he's being completely wiped off the map. The offensive line is going to improve this year. JT is to the moon for me this year. The team's going to rely on him. All they've got is Michael Pittman. He's good at catching balls out of the backfield. It's Jonathan Taylor all day out of these three.
All right. I gave you some points there. Right now we have Brandon 17, Jack 15, Drew 18 with the edge right there still. But I think people are sleeping on JT. I think Quentin, I watched a little bit of defensive tackle game film. I know, boring. Dexter Lawrence dominated Quentin Nelson. I mean, he made him look like a rookie. That was pretty rare to find. So I expect that line to step up a little bit. I do like JT. I have a lot of shares of Barkley prior to the news of him holding out. So I'm there as well. And Bijan, when I can get him, I take him. But his ADP is still steadily on the rise. Kind of interesting to me to see that happen. All right, second question. Like I said, you can't take the same answer. Going more running backs. Dobbins, Pierce for the Houston Texans, and Miles Sanders are currently ADP 43 through 44.3. Who's going to have the better season out of these three, and why? Brandon, you're up first, and the time starts right now.
I'd like to go Dobbins here because I think he's the most talented of the bunch. But I think they're going to monitor his touches, and both Gus Edwards and newly signed Melvin Gordon are going to cut into that. So I'm going to go Sanders on his new team. He finished running back 11 last seasons after, he scored 11 touchdowns. I think he moves into that workhorse role for Carolina. And I could see if he's healthy, he gets 250 to 300 touches. They're talking they're going to want to throw him the ball. He's never really caught that many passes outside of his rookie year, but I think he can do it. All
right. So built up hot Dobbins, but went Sanders. So, Jack, that means Sanders is off the board, and it's your pick to the remaining two, and it starts now.
Well, I would have picked Sanders because he's got a chip on his shoulder. He didn't want to leave Philly, but in that case, I will go with Dameon Pierce because I think even if Devin Singletary is there, that backfield split between just them two. Now, I definitely prefer it in like best ball leagues, but I'm still willing to take the shot in redraft auction dynasty. I just think that they're going to lean on the run game. That's how DeMeco Ryans is going to want to run that team, is through defense and through the run game, very old school. And with a rookie quarterback and a bunch of, they're running out the corpse of Bobby Trees and John Mechie. I love his story. I hope he hits. Nico Collins. It's like a bunch of dudes. So I like Dameon Pierce a lot.
Pierce it is, off the board. You know what that means, Drew? You've only got one running back left. Why is it Dobbins? And it starts right now.
Well, I hate to repeat what Jack just said, but, if I had gone first, I would have taken Dobbins out of this crew. I'm just not sold on Sanders and his ability to get going behind the Carolina line. That's vastly inferior to the Philadelphia line. And I'm just not a Damian Pierce guy because I do think that they're going to split up the touches there. But I tell you what, J.K. Dobbins is easy to get behind for me because the last time we really saw him playing healthy football at the end of his rookie season and then towards the end of last year, I know that he may not be a 22 carry a game guy, but he was still putting up 15, 13, 12, 17 carries there over a 4-game stretch at the end of last year. I think he's still got it in him. And, 1,200 rushing yards and 10 touchdowns is certainly within reach.
All right. I love it. Giving some statistics to back it up. People saying, hi, what's up, Mar RC? What's up, Melissa? Thank y'all for being here. Like I said, we're handling the Twitter comments as well over there. Go check that out. So coming down to the last question, we got 21 points for Brandon, 21 points for Jack, 22 points for Drew. So it's anybody's game. All right, last question. Nobody knew it. We got the order. We'll go Jack, Drew, Brandon. All right, to wrap it up. The mystery question, you probably could have guessed. It was running back again, and it is ADP again. I find these three to be very fascinating, though, and I'm going to be interested to see how you guys make this take. So we got Gibbs, the rookie in Detroit, Aaron Jones in Green Bay, and Joe Mixon. Right now, they are currently ADP 39 through 41.7. Who do you like the most and why? Like I said, we'll go Jack, Drew, Brandon. Jack, you're on the clock for the game. It starts now.
Man, you got me with that one. I want to say I want to live dangerously, but I'm going to play it safe. I think it's Aaron Jones. I just think Aaron Jones is the safest option out of the three. The Packers are going to need to rely on him again with basically rookie quarterback Jordan Love coming in, and all the wide receivers are second year and younger, essentially, when you talk about Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, and Jaden Reed. Or is it Jalen or Jaden? It's Jaden Reed, right? Yeah. Anyways, they're all very, very young. Aaron Jones is the veteran. A.J. Dillon has shown he's like good for backup running, but it's Aaron Jones.
All right. Aaron Jones, man, giving you a point on that one. Speaking to my heart right there. I know you had the least amount of time to prepare too, but Drew, on the clock, 40 seconds, starts now.
Well, when you said the question, I thought that I might be leaning towards Joe Mixon. But the more I think about it, I think I'd rather have Gibbs at this point because last year I think that we saw the beginning of the end for Joe Mixon. I think he's still going to be fine with plenty of volume for the Cincinnati offense, but I'm just not that interested. Pro Football Focus, his elusiveness rating was 57th among qualifying running backs last year. That's absolutely atrocious. He just struggled with the efficiency. I want the high upside young guy. They're clearly going to give him the ball with the draft capital in the top 12. And guys like that get drafted that high, they get fed the rock. And I don't think it's going to be a ton of carries maybe, but I still think that 60 catches is within reach, and that's where I'm going.
I always talk noise on Swift. I went back and looked at a couple Swift highlights. Man, they make the running back position look so good there. Brandon, you know what that means. This is for the game. You're currently down 5 points. You need three thumbs up to get this. Why is it Joe Mixon? Time starts now.
I like that offense. It's going to be a great offense. I think he has no one behind him that's going to take touches away from him. He was the RB3 in 2021, the RB13 last season. I think, I did see some downfalls in the way he produced, as it was said earlier, but I think he could be a top 15 running back this year, and I see him outproducing those other two players of the season.
So you're going with production there, and it gave us some time to spare. I think I got to give you half a point there, and we're going to force a playoff. I wasn't prepared for this. So as it sits right now, Jack, I'm sorry you didn't have enough points right there. Caught you off guard with the first one with Aaron Jones. I do love your answer. I think Aaron Jones is very vastly underrated. He's the top 5 touchdown producer over the top 5 past years. I think they're going to run a lot. I don't think that anybody convinced me on these 3 running backs that I'm split on, though, to be honest with you. I don't know that either one of y'all really sold me.
I was very torn between Jones and Gibbs. I've been kind of down on Gibbs, but I've been rising on. It's easy to get the stack with Goff, especially in Superflex.
Yeah, it is.
So I enjoy that, but I got to go there. I think Aaron Jones is going to outproduce them, and I went with that.
Okay, I like that. Okay, well, one more question, right? Running back question. Now I think I got to switch it up because I got to think something on the spot, and we're running back out. Who is your favorite wide receiver outside of the top 4 being drafted? Which with most drafts I see J.J. Chase, Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp. So those 4 are gone. Brandon and Drew, you guys are going to get on there. 10 seconds, not a word after the bell. I'll give it to the defender first here. Brandon, you're on the clock. Favorite wide receiver outside of those 4, 10 seconds starts right now.
I'm going to go A.J. Brown. I love that offense. I love what they did last year. The guy is just
all right, A.J. Brown, you heard it. Drew, that means you're on the clock. 10 seconds starts right now.
I got to go with Devontae Adams. The disrespect this man is being shown at this point is crazy. It's not like he has Nathan Peterman throwing him the ball. Jimmy G can get the ball out. He'll be fine. He's going to be great.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, man. You know what? I think I like A.J. Brown better, but I think Drew said it more convincingly. So I got to give it to Drew right there. 1 point, Drew with the win. Floor is yours, sir. Then we'll go back around and give the floor to everybody. Anything you'd like to say, my friend?
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you having me on. We met at the expo last year. It's been truly a pleasure to get to know you. But right now I'm just crushing content over there at my Patreon channel. So check that out. Patreon.com/fantasyfootballlawyer. And you can find my writing at Football Guys and at 4 for 4.
I'm trying to. Sorry, the screen got all screwy there. We did meet at the expo. Had a lot of great times with you, Drew. Got to watch you draft live in the Kings Classic. Got to watch the panel. Are you still running the auction panel this year?
I am. I gotta get on that. That's coming up quickly. I haven't done it yet.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm on the IDP panel. I got to get some news going. Go check out the auction panel. It was a lot of fun. Brandon, you almost won, man. You got edged out with the question that I wasn't even prepared for. So I'm not even mad at you. The floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, I'll be at the Fantasy Expo this year. So anyone out there that's out there, I know that I met you, Iggy, last year. Looking forward to meeting some other people. But I had a great time. Looking forward to it again. Like I said, I'm doing Winning the Wire again this season. So we have guests coming on for the first 15 minutes throughout the industry to just talk football, fantasy football, what they have going on before we do the waiver wire show. So we have like a little complement of interesting people coming on and then talking waivers. And so that's kind of what I have looking forward to this season right now.
I do love it. And are you going to do it on Spaces again? Or are y'all going to have like StreamYard shows, or what's the plan?
The format is still a little bit in flux, but right now it's going to be on Spaces, but it's to be determined. There's a little bit of an announcement that could be coming up soon about that.
I love to hear that. Teasing us a little, Brandon. And I do go check out his Spaces if it's on there or whatever format. I was fortunate enough to join a couple last year. Got to hear Andy Burns talk about it. Got to hear some really fascinating people. So make sure you go check out Brandon and go check out the waiver, because that's how you know you really win. You got to get people to win, all right? Jack, please tell us a little bit more. The floor is yours. Anything you want to say? And we'll wrap up the show after that.
Sadly, I cannot make the expo. I live up in Canada, and I am getting married in October. I already have like all my time off for the year booked, so I will be there next year. But the Fantasy Football Advice Forum, I write exclusively for them. They will be at the expo, so make sure you link up with my guy Tyler Bradley. He runs that whole shindig over there. You can find my writing exclusively on their site. Otherwise, all my stuff is on YouTube. It's just me. It's all in my name. And then I post also on Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter. So you can follow me on there. Again, all just in my name.
All right, dude. Jack, I appreciate it. Wrote down his name. Wish I could see you. Congratulations on getting married. Very special day, no doubt about it. And I did record a show with Jack that will be coming out in a couple Wednesdays. We talk a lot of things. Some of those questions for this show actually spun from that one. So make sure you check that out as well. Any closing remarks about running backs, guys? What's your favorite position? Does anybody have a different favorite position offensively besides running back?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's silent here, so I just got to say.
I want to shout out the O-line. I used to play O-line. I know I'm a little guy.
Any other position.
5'10", 200 pounds, but I'm up in Canada, and we suck up here. Like, we don't have bands. We don't have cheerleaders. We don't got people in the stands. We barely got enough people to fill the team. So I was playing all across the offensive line. So massive shout out and respect for just how hard it is to play that position.
I mean, the offensive line, I get it. I mean, Brandon, I know you're in the Big Easy, but I know you're a Bears fan. I mean, Walter Payton was like my first football player. Like, he got like, I remember running around watching the Bears versus the Cowboys. Walter Payton just beating up all over those late 80s Cowboys when I grew up in DFW. I mean, is Sweetness your favorite player, or do you have since you've been playing fantasy football for so long, do you have more an affinity for other players, other positions?
Yeah, he was a great player. I am a Bears fan first. I'm a Saints fan second. I am in New Orleans currently now. But I have to agree with that offensive line comment of just like what possibly could make or break a team. I mean, being a Bears fan, we saw what Justin Fields could do last season with one of the worst offensive lines. They've upgraded that position. My hope is that will bring him into the next tier and give him a chance to pass the ball, be successful, get some other people involved. But there's a big reason why those, big tackles are coming in and being drafted off the board early and often in these drafts. So if you can shore up that O-line, it gives, even mediocre quarterbacks time to be great.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up. Make sure you go follow everybody. It's at Chubb's Burger, CHUBZ Burger, BURGER. That's Brandon. Jack, how do you pronounce your last name? Is it Lucenay?
Lucenay.
Lucenay. So Jack.
Loose goose. Lucenay.
Lucenay. Jack, Lucenay. And then Drew Davenport at Drew Davenport FF. That's DREWDAVENPORT FF. All right. I'm the sports affiliation. Right now, the representative of Iggy. We love you guys. Really appreciate you all being out there. Remember, we got a show every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Thank you guys so much for joining. Drew, congratulations on the win. I'd love to have every one of y'all back. And
Congrats, Drew.
We'll see you guys at the expo. Remember, bet smart, be lucky, play fantasy football with IDP, people. Later.
Thanks, Iggy.
Thank you, guys.
On the flip side.
Let's catch you on the flip, man. Let's see. Trying to get this going. Sorry. Boom.